Victory Tuesday is always sweeter when it comes after a performance like that. Bears fans woke up smiling today, and for good reason. The team went out on the road, under the lights, and handled business against Washington in a way that felt like a statement, not just a win. And sure, the voice might be a little rough the next morning, but when your kicker comes out of nowhere and nails a game winner, you live with the hoarseness. Let's start with what had everyone talking after the final whistle: Jake Moody. Man, what a night for that guy. A name no one expected to be on the lips of Bears fans this week. But here we are, 4 out of 5 on field goals, including the clutch 38-yarder to win it all. That's not just stepping up, that's redemption. That's a remember me moment in a league that moves on quickly. Moody, let's be honest, looked like a guy whose confidence had been shattered after things didn't work out with the 49ers. He came in with big expectations as a third-round pick, but got cut and quietly found himself on the Bears practice squad. No one thought too much about it at the time. It felt more like a low-risk, high-upside flyer than a move that would make headlines. But injuries in football create opportunities, and with Cairo Santos dealing with a thigh issue that apparently flared up over the weekend, Moody suddenly found himself not just on the roster, but with the weight of the game on his shoulders. And he delivered. That's what makes this league so brutal and so beautiful at the same time. 1 week, you're forgotten. The next, you're the guy getting game balls in the locker room. Sure, he had 1 kick blocked, but even that felt like more of a protection breakdown and a low trajectory issue than anything else. The Commanders had a good push up front, but Moody didn't flinch. He came back, stayed calm, and drilled that game winner like he's been doing it all season. Now, does this mean there's a full-blown kicker controversy in Chicago? Maybe pump the brakes on that. Cairo Santos has been reliable. He's been the guy for a while, and unless his injury lingers or worsens, it's hard to imagine him losing his job after 1 missed game. But there's no denying Moody offers something Santos doesn't: a cannon of a leg. You could see on the kickoffs, and while he's still got work to do in terms of consistency and trajectory, the raw power is there. And if he continues to grow, continues to develop, the Bears might have a serious long-term option here. He's young. He's talented. He just showed he can make pressure kicks in the NFL. That alone makes him more than just a temporary patch. He's a name to watch. Of course, Moody wasn't the only standout for Monday night. Before we get deeper into individual performances, let's quickly touch on DJ Moore. After the game, reports came out that he was kept overnight at a hospital in the D.C. area for what the team called a precautionary medical evaluation. At first glance, that can be alarming, but everything coming out of Hallis Hall points to it not being anything serious. There's footage of him after the game walking off the field, smiling, seemingly in good spirits. So maybe it was just one of those situations where something didn't feel quite right, and the medical staff decided to be extra cautious. Rib injury? Maybe. They might have wanted to rule out something like a punctured lung. But again, as of now, no red flags. And let's not forget the way Moore started the game. He was getting fed early and often, showing again why he's such a valuable piece in this offense. Tough catches, yards after contact. He looked like a guy setting the tone. You just hope he's fine because he makes such a big difference for this unit when he's out there at full strength. Now, shifting gears back to the field. If we're talking about tone setters, how about the run game? It looked alive, like really alive. DeAndre Swift came to play, and you could tell from the first few touches that something was clicking. The offensive line was opening lanes, the outside zone runs were hitting, and Swift was running with purpose. That 55-yard touchdown where he made a guy miss and just took off, that was the kind of play that shifts momentum, and it's the kind of explosion this offense needs to threaten defenses consistently. It felt like the coaching staff used the bye week to go back to the drawing board and figure out what's working and what's not. Clearly, one of their conclusions was to lean into those wide zone concepts. Plays designed to get Swift moving laterally, let the block set up, and then let his vision and burst do the rest. And man, it worked. The combination of Swift and the new-look offensive line, particularly with Theo Benedict stepping in and Darnell Wright holding his own despite dealing with a painful elbow injury, really made a difference. Speaking of Darnell Wright, give that man some credit. Playing through what some are saying is a torn UCL in his elbow and still managing to pancake defenders and open holes. That's Warrior stuff. There was one run in particular deep in the red zone where he took out not one, but two defenders on a key block that helped set up a Moody field goal. You need that kind of grit in the trenches if you're going to make a playoff push down the line. As for Benedict, he looked like an upgrade over Braxton Jones. Simple as that. More athletic in space, more decisive on his blocks, and more in sync with the rest of the line. Sometimes it's just about finding the right combination, and Monday night might have given the Bears exactly that. A run game with rhythm, chemistry, and execution. That hasn't been something we've been able to say consistently in recent seasons. And when the run game works, everything else opens up, including the passing game. Caleb Williams. Let's talk about the rookie for a second. Because while it wasn't a masterpiece from start to finish, it was definitely another step forward in his development. Stat line says 17 completions on 29 attempts for 252 yards and a touchdown. No interceptions. That last part is key. Ball security matters, especially on the road. He did have a bit of a scare in the red zone with a throw that could have been picked, but sometimes you need those learning moments without the actual turnover to go with it. There was also the touchdown run, and let's be real, he probably should have had two. That second one got wiped off the board thanks to a questionable penalty on Theo Benedict. Still, what we saw from Caleb was encouraging. He came out hot, cooled off a bit in the second quarter where his accuracy seemed to waver, but then finished strong. That's the kind of mental toughness you want to see. He stayed engaged, didn't let frustration take over, and when it mattered most, he delivered. That third down conversion to Lovell on the final drive? Big-time throw in a high-pressure moment. It's clear that there's still room to grow. His completion percentage for the season sits around 62%, which isn't terrible, but certainly leaves room for improvement. Getting that number closer to 65 would help this offense sustain drives. But what he lacks in accuracy right now, he's making up for with big plays. The Bears are generating explosive plays through the air, and that's a reflection of both his arm talent and Ben Johnson's play design. Play-action passes, especially, have become a valuable tool in Caleb's arsenal. That wasn't a strength of his game earlier in the year, but now we're seeing him get comfortable with it, setting his feet, delivering strikes downfield. The growth is real. And you know what else stood out? His demeanor. Caleb was visibly frustrated after that miscue with the snap. Was it a drop? Was it a bad exchange? Hard to say, but he didn't lose it. He got heated, sure, had a moment with the quarterback coach on the sideline, but then he regrouped and went back to work. Last year, we saw moments where the energy dipped when things went sideways. Not this time. He was locked in, fully present, and determined to get that win. As the dust settles from Monday night's thriller, what we're starting to see is a Bears team slowly, but surely, building an identity. One that isn't perfect, one that still has growing pains, but also one that fights, adapts, and isn't afraid of the big moments. That might be the biggest change from recent years. This team doesn't fold when it gets punched in the mouth. They punch back. You could feel that energy all over the field, especially on defense. While most of the post-game conversation will rightfully focus on Jake Moody, Caleb Williams, and the resurgence of the run game, the defense deserves its flowers too. For large stretches of this game, they kept the Commanders out of rhythm, forced key turnovers, and made plays when it mattered most. Yes, they gave up yards, but the important part is they didn't break. And they showed up in those gotta-have-it moments. It's easy to forget just how banged up this unit is. Guys dropping early in the season, constant shuffling of personnel, and still they're competing. The front four showed more push this game, with pressures coming off the edge and from the interior. That doesn't just affect the opposing quarterback. It gives the secondary a chance to hold up. It shortens routes. It creates mistakes. And that's exactly what we saw when the Bears forced those crucial turnovers. You don't always need a dominant defense, but you do need a timely one. And right now, they're getting there. Now back to the run game for a second. Because what DeAndre Swift did can't be brushed off as a fluke. This wasn't a case of one or two broken plays padding the stat sheet. This was sustained, efficient, and explosive running. The Bears averaged nearly 8 yards per carry against a defense that, while not elite, has shown flashes of physicality this year. Swift ran with balance, patience, and confidence. He trusted his blocks and showed great decision-making in choosing when to bounce outside or cut upfield. Part of that is just who Swift is, a player who, when healthy, has always flashed potential. But part of it is also scheme and coaching. You could tell Ben Johnson had a clear plan going into this one. He wanted to get the edge, stretch the defense horizontally, and then attack vertically with swift speed. The use of motion, the way they overloaded sides of the line, the consistent effort to get Swift out in space, it all worked together. This wasn't just random play calling. It was intentional, and it paid off. It also helped that the offensive line played one of their best games of the season. From Wright to Benedict, to the interior guys holding up in pass protection and creating movement in the run game. It was a complete effort. This group, which has been a major question mark all year, suddenly looked cohesive. It's amazing what happens when you give a quarterback time and running back lanes. Football starts at the line of scrimmage, and Monday night was a perfect example of that. Caleb benefited from that too. He had time to go through his progressions, step into throws, and make decisions without constant pressure breathing down his neck. And while he still has areas to clean up, his footwork in the pocket, some mechanical inconsistencies that affect his ball placement, he continues to look more and more comfortable. You can see the game slowing down for him. He's starting to read defenses better, adjust protections, and understand what the defense is trying to do. That's the stuff you can't teach overnight. It comes with reps, and he's stacking good ones. Something else to highlight is Caleb's situational awareness. Late in the game, on that final drive, you saw him manage the clock, keep the tempo where it needed to be, and avoid the kind of mental mistakes that kill drives. Even when the offense got behind the chains at one point, he didn't panic. He found his check downs, moved the ball efficiently, and set Moody up for a manageable field goal. That might not show up on highlight reels, but that's the kind of quarterbacking that wins games. There's also a new energy on the sideline. You can feel it through the TV. This team is having fun again. Players are celebrating together. There's a confidence growing in the locker room, a belief that every guy on the field can make a play. That belief matters. When you trust the guy next to you, you play faster, looser, more physical. You're not worried about trying to cover someone else's mistake. You're just doing your job. That's how good teams operate. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are swirling around the NFL as Carolina Panthers wide receiver DJ Moore drops a statement that has tongues wagging across sports circles. Speaking candidly in a recent interview, Moore said, "If he comes, it's because they don't need me." The comment, brief but loaded, has immediately sparked speculation about the Panthers' roster plans and what, or who, might be on the horizon. The he Moore references remains officially unnamed, but sources close to the team hint that the chatter revolves around a potential superstar wide receiver acquisition. NFL insiders suggest that Carolina may be eyeing a big-name addition that could shift the depth chart significantly. Moore's cryptic words hint at a mix of confidence and caution. Confidence in his role as the team's primary offensive weapon, but caution that the front office could be weighing options that might alter his status. Fans and analysts alike have begun dissecting every angle. Is Moore subtly signaling that he expects the organization to fully commit to him? Or is this a veiled warning to management that he won't quietly step aside if a marquee player arrives? The tension is palpable, and social media has exploded with theories. Some argue this is classic DJ Moore bravado, a statement of self-assuredness in his position. Others see it as an early crack in team chemistry if negotiations for new talent move forward. Adding fuel to the fire, insiders suggest that the Panthers' front office has been actively exploring trade possibilities and free agent signings in the wide receiver market. Moore's remark, brief yet pointed, might be more than a casual comment. It could be a subtle message to decision-makers. He's here to stay, but only if his role remains vital. While no official announcements have been made, the ripple effect of Moore's words is undeniable. Analysts are already projecting potential lineup changes, debating how a new acquisition could impact the Panthers' offensive strategy, and wondering if Moore's public statement is a preemptive strike against uncertainty. One thing is certain. The buzz around Carolina is at a fever pitch, and all eyes will be on how the team navigates this high-stakes offseason drama. For now, fans can only speculate. But as Moore's cryptic declaration lingers in the air, one message is clear. Carolina's receiving core might be in for a shakeup, and DJ Moore isn't going to go quietly if the dynamics change. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.